Ian from Tech2U in the studio with us. I was going to start with this email that Ian sent in earlier, but since I just got that weird that look your dog gives you when you pass gas in front of them, where they turn their head sideways.
That's fair.
When I was talking about radio contest, so what was that inquisitive look?
I can't understand how there are other shows that don't operate live.
If you were in the industry, you would say the exact opposite. I don't understand how there's a show other than this that would operate.
Well,
live.
I observe the difficulty in what you guys do day to day. Obviously, you've mastered the process, but I mean, for people who can't see, there's a lot that goes on that you have no clue about, especially after having developed RADTV. There's so much that you wouldn't believe goes into making it happen. But still, it looks easy for somebody who does this full time, right? Like I'm watching, you're like, oh, okay, well, they got this figured out. So there's shows that just.
Well, a lot of it, too. So if you're a prize pig, like you just bounce from station to station, you're overwhelmingly used to. You're playing while there's a commercial break or a song on, and then 5-10 minutes later, you hear yourself win or lose the tickets you were calling for. Now, obviously, big time live, national talk shows. Those are all run like we are, but with behind the scenes things and other things going on. But the main reason for it is people just don't trust the people on the air for good reason. Well, They don't know how to adapt, how to adjust, how to delay people out that are cursing, even though it's a very simple process.
Well, between Kyle going whenever somebody says something they shouldn't, and your easy access to the dump button.
And there was a time, not with contests particular, but even if you have someone, this was a million years ago, and I was working for Rob, but I had my own little midday show and the Midday Country Girl, and so when you'd interview people, I'd be interviewing them during a break. And then I would have to be done, and then have to because I've recorded it, and now I've got to splice it to a reel to reel, take out areas where they were ridiculous and it didn't.
That sounds harder,
right? Because you're not.
Now editing's so much easier now with computer technology.
You're cutting. I'm I'm not going to make it in time. Oh no.
Many a memory.
And a lot of the time, the hosts are just not talented enough to run a contest, so they'll outsource it and they'll phone it in, kind of like the War of the Roses, which is totally fake.
Yes, that's all done by actors and everything like that. So Ian's there for a variety of reasons. Not only are we obviously partnered with Tech2U and they oversee RADTV, and we'll get to some tech stuff. There's some big breaking AI news this morning that we will get to as well. But he's not only a friend, and he's going to be on with us this Saturday, but before we get to that, he's a listener. He was a consumer of the show long before he was a partner of it.
Indeed.
And he still listens. So he wrote in an hour ago when we were talking about things that feel weird and might even seem illegal. And the one that got Ian was he emailed in about when you have a bunch of bananas at the store and you split like two of them off because you only want two. He wrote in, he said, wait a second, you can split those up? I feel like a whole world of possibilities have opened up for me. I never even considered that.
I did.
Your mind is blown legit.
When I heard it, I was like, oh, they don't do that before? I've never seen anybody else really like go to the bananas and split them up. And I thought that what happened was when they set the bananas out, there was some person who would break apart and have different, and I felt like they never have the quantity I want.
Oh, different.
I gotta buy more than I need. And then we end up having to make banana bread or whatever. I never even considered it.
Do you all have you ever felt like with the bananas, anyone, where you feel like you should take some that have been broken up and the others that have been broken up because they add up to what you want, as opposed to like taking that big bunch?
Like a group of two and then another group of two.
Yeah.
But I don't want to grab the one because I feel like, why is there only one? Was there something wrong with that one?
Oh, yeah.
So then I leave the one and I grab,
Now we have a lonely banana.
I know, it's a whole thing. And like even the conversation that you were talking about, the coffee in the car, I almost wrote in another email. It was a really good friend of mine came over to my house one day. We had a time that we needed to meet up, and he showed up with a plate of spaghetti in his car.
What?
And he started making food. He's a stoner, so it helps a little. But he made a plate of food, and then he forgot. He was like, oh gosh, I'm getting close on time. He's a very timely person. He showed up on time and walked out of his truck, and he's got a plate and a fork, and he's eating spaghetti. And I was like, what the heck?
That's funny.
What are you doing, dude?
That's high degree of difficulty. It's not just a plate of food; it's spaghetti.
Well, and it wasn't very viscous because surely he'd microwaved it or something before. But it's that type of thing. Like I would never even think to do that.
I don't see why he didn't use a bowl. I mean, I'm imagining as him driving and trying to play this balancing act of don't spill the spaghetti.
It's because he eats spaghetti on a plate, and that was his logic. Okay. Oh,
right, and he is so, to me, I'm like, okay, he so wants to be on time, like you said, that he doesn't even want to transfer it to a Tupperware dish,
No.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
but
put the
see,
lid on.
his logic would make him I'm going to go ahead and drink coffee out of a mug outside because you what you said about spaghetti. You drink coffee out of a mug. I don't need a travel mug.
Every one of those bits of expected logic that we had is like, it doesn't matter to him, and I admire his freedom.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
The real reason, main reason that Ian is here is that this Saturday is our next RADurday show on RADTV at members.radradio.com, and Ian will be filling in as Sean Evans, the actual host of Hot Ones, because we're doing our RADTV Not Hot Ones challenge,
Bah.
where we are going to take a bite of 10 progressively hotter wings while having discussions with Ian with questions that he's going to be bringing and asking us. And you get to watch us just devolve as human beings live on the air. Particularly, I believe in this order: Dawn and then me. And then I think the two boys will do much better in the other
Yeah.
room. But we'll see. We'll talk more about that. But this first question might even be more directed at you, Brando.
Okay.
It's from Maggot member Dave.
Hey, Dave.
A lot of people, we know that a lot of you that are already members, and if you're not, you still have until Saturday to sign up. And remember, if you don't, you're going to pay a lot more whenever you do get on the train. Look, the RADTV membership train is not going off the tracks, but the price goes up on Saturday. Anybody that's in already, you will continue to renew at that price that you paid originally, but on Saturday the price goes up. And we know that a lot of people are planning on doing this with us. Some of them ordered the exact same Hot Ones box that we ordered from the website. Others might be doing it with their own different versions, but they're going to be playing along as they watch us and taking bites of chicken wings. And Dave wrote in and said, "My wife and I are thrilled to follow along, and we would appreciate any input of how to make our submissions more digestible than the wings that we'll be partaking. So I'm wondering, what exactly is the RAD team looking for? I'm sure that Brandon doesn't want to sift through hours upon hours of maggots watching you do the challenge, and I'm almost certain nobody wants to watch us maggots interview each other, as our lives are not as interesting as yours. So to make things simple, what do you want to see from us maggots?" Because we kind of organically on the air last time said, well, let's have the maggots that are playing along make video clips of themselves, which they can then send to us, and we can roll out, not in real time, because we'll be doing the challenge, but later that week or whenever we can get them all put together on Rad TV. So he makes good points. I mean, we don't want a 90-minute video. And what we're really looking for, I would think, are like reaction pieces.
Yeah, I mean, you could certainly send more than we need. I would rather have more content than not enough. So if you wanted to send your whole clip of you doing the Hot Ones challenge, so be it. But maybe make some notes of like what the highlights might be. But that's just really what we're looking for, the highlights. So just that, I think the reactions to the hotter wings would be the best clips that you could send.
And just a cell phone's fine, right? Just record on your cell phone.
Yeah, do it horizontally so it looks good.
And maybe what you do is every time you guys take a bite, that's when you hit record and record yourselves taking the bite and like reacting to each other. Yeah. And then once that happens, you turn it off, right?
I think that, Ian, you've done this a couple of times before. So would it be better if they just send us clips of them getting to the more hot side of the spectrum of the wings, or should we just have them send in from the beginning to the end?
Well, if Dawn wasn't joining us, I'd say send a video of Dawn taking the bite of number one, because she's going to react to, presumably the first one. So I think that your reaction level is really going to be an indication as to whether or not it's going to be something we would want to replay. But also, Rob and I talked briefly about just swapping up a question, and I think I've come up with a way to involve the audience in a small degree in one of my questions. And maybe what we can do is elicit some response to a specific question that's a little bit broader, and maybe people could submit some responses to that. And also, it's at a time where their reactions are going to be entertaining too. So
yeah, I mean, we definitely want real-time email responses. Yeah. So like as you're like, if you guys are playing along, if you get to the third wing or the fifth wing and you're done, email us and let us know. Oh my God, and I'm sure you'll be emailing about what you're seeing visibly and physically, probably fairly early on from Dawn and me.
I specifically want to see tears. I want to see crying. I want to see a lot of like drool and spit and red faces. I want to see people reacting to the hot stuff.
I could just say I'll be providing you all of that right here, but I know you want to see others as well. So we got this email from Meg.
Hey, Meg.
Shut up, Meg.
And Hot Ones is this YouTube sensation where celebrities go on and they sit there with the host Sean Evans they both take the bites. Sean participates just like Ian. You're going to do this with us.
Yeah.
And then Sean asks a question, and then as the wings get hotter, the challenges can these celebrities hold it together. And it's every A-lister goes on this show now. Meg says, I have never watched a single episode of Hot Ones until the last time Ian was on. It's bad enough that my mornings are occupied until 10 a.m. thanks to RADTV. Now, my Rad family, you've introduced me to another addiction, and I'm truly hooked. Lost an entire week binge watching. Hot Ones.
Good show.
It is, and it's made by everything. The celebrities, but also Sean Evans does a great job with his questions.
If you're a really big fan of that show, and then you're expecting like, well, Ian, he's gonna have these. I'm not Sean Evans, so now that said, don't hold your bar as high as him. But I am putting effort into it, so I think you're gonna enjoy it. There's definitely some things that none of the cast is expecting, so I'm looking forward to.
What?
Oh yeah, you guys are gonna be.
Here's some comfort for you, though. We're not the celebrities either that they have, right? We're not to that standard, so
Way to go, Don.
What do you mean we're not expecting? Like the questions we're not going to be expecting? Or are you bringing us presents? Like what's going on?
I'm not going to tell you anything. You're just going to have to
Come on,
wait.
Ian. I thought we were cool.
No, I mean, you hooked me up with the Princess spreadsheeter at Fire Up the other day, and they just kind of took off. Like just because we were talking like nerds, we weren't cool enough that you could hang out with us.
Now, last time Ian was here, one of the things we were talking about are the rules about what can we do to try to stay in this competition and to cool down as we go. And we basically decided each person can bring whatever they want.
Totally. Open rules. Yeah, whatever you think will help.
Because they let the celebrities do that. Most of them just do the milk, and there is water on the table, although all the research I did said water sucks. Don't use it.
Ice water can be helpful. Even just keeping the ice cube in your mouth.
That's what I saw was better, was an ice cube.
Yeah, and it's kind of deceiving because when you think ice cube, like a burn, like you burn yourself, you can use ice or very cold water or whatever. It's not that same. It's not that kind of burn, right? It's just the heat that comes with a burn. The ice cube is almost more of a distraction.
By the way, just to clarify, when I think of ice cube, I think of Friday, so I don't know why. Brian says the secret to killing heat from any type of pepper is putting table salt on your tongue. After you eat it, instantly it gets rid of the burning. You ever heard that one?
Yeah. I've researched so many of these different.
You ain't the only
methods,
one. You think
right?
I'm not getting ready for
the
this?
thing is, I get the feeling though that this is like a lot of homeopathic type stuff where it doesn't necessarily work for everyone. Some of them it's like, hey, I swear by this. This is amazing. It's the best thing you can do. And then there's other people that are like, I tried it and it made no difference at all.
See, and I keep thinking, I really should try some of these that I'm researching, and then I realize I have a life and I don't have time to try many of them. So I might be coming in blind Saturday with like a duffel bag full of every single one of these things that people either swear by or science says works, or you, Ian, the milkshake. I will definitely have a milkshake on hand.
The only thing I'm going to stand by is the milkshake.
Yeah, see, everything you just said there, Rob, I had a huge list, but okay, I'm not testing it out. But then I also don't want to bring everything because I don't want there to be like some kind of nauseated reaction. Like I've tried too many things that don't, they go against each other in your stomach along with that spice,
See,
and I'm like, I don't want to get sick.
So I wasn't focused on the after effect, including the not just the nausea, but then the bathroom stuff later.
Yeah.
Because in the moment, I'm guessing as this gets worse, particularly for Dawn and then for me, we're going to be willing to try anything. And which is why we're not even be thinking. It's going to be like, okay, these didn't work, so I'm going to the next thing.
Yeah, you'll be good. Yeah.
So I've eaten like raw habaneros before, and I've experienced the spiciness of what these peppers can hold, especially with these sauces too. I'm going to be doing some Ben & Jerry's strawberry cheesecake ice cream on the side.
Aces.
The only concern is...
Just the ice cream, not like a milkshake, just the ice cream.
It's going to be the small carton, and I'm going to have a spoon in it. But the concern is...
Is that going to be enough over the course of the challenge?
Yeah, it's like what, 10 wings, 8 wings?
Yeah.
10.
10?
That's a great idea because it's going to soften up as you go, and I like that. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll do that.
And I imagine like the first probably 5 or 6 wings, I probably won't even need to touch the ice cream. I'm guessing when it gets closer to like the bomb, that's the when I'm going to need it. And the dairy really helps. Like cream cheese is the best for spiciness.
Dawn and I are over here thinking I'm going to need something after the first or second wing.
Yeah, and I already tried those things from the turned out to be pepper that my husband had.
Black pepper.
Yeah.
Black
But it
pepper.
That'll get you.
But it was charred, right? And it looked like the charred.
I get it.
Looked
I've
like
had
the charred
yeah,
parts,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like, oh, I like the charred
Don't
stuff
give
sometimes.
her any
And it was
credit.
just all pepper. And I took some cream cheese, nothing. The milk, nothing. Water made it worse. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm screwed.
Hey, you lived though, right?
I did, but it was
You were good.
But it was painful.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's gonna be over, and then you're gonna be like, I did it, and it's gonna feel great.
Yeah, I made it to 3.
I'm thinking maybe a hack of Kyle's idea and the milkshake idea. Maybe you make the milkshake with that sea salt caramel ice cream, so you
there
get
you
the
go.
salt in there, along with
smart.
a giant container of salt. Yes, I will be trying that.
I think ice cream is probably also good just because ice cream is pleasant. And I said this last time, when you contribute to, or when you try to prevent the heat from spreading and you do it by eating something that is just awful, like pouring salt on your tongue, to me, I've had the heat. It's not better than the heat. Like, I'd rather have the heat than choke down salt. It just sounds
yeah.
awful to me. And like you, I don't want to get an upset stomach. So
Yeah.
there's things I'm not willing to try.
Well, see, and that goes to your other point, though, about things are different for each individual, because I love salt.
Oh.
I will, at times, for no reason, I will pour salt into my hand and just eat it. And you've seen me on RADTV do the way I eat my super salty pretzel.
Yeah.
you gotta-
You like there's
Maybe I bring some of the
Oh,
pretzels
yeah.
and rub those on my tongue.
That's a good idea. Dip them in ice cream.
As well. Oh, now we're just really hacking everything up.
See, and another good reason for ice cream to use it is because spicy food, especially some of these hotter sauces, might make you throw up. So if you have to throw up, you have ice cream in your system, it's going to be a lot better.
I thought
Yes.
that, I've never seen anybody do it. I've never seen
anyone
anybody
throw up.
actually puke. No, not only not in person. I've never seen anybody
good.
on the show ever do it. I was really nervous about it because I found out, and I'll help you guys with this the day of, so it's not a thing. But I found out the very first time that I did it that there was a reason why I started to feel it wasn't nausea, but I first thought it was nausea. And then as I kind of got through it, I realized, oh, this is what's happening, and I just need to do this other thing. I'll explain it the day of. But yeah,
Okay.
it really helps kind of calm the nerves and get through it a lot easier.
Good, because I'm really not overly concerned about the bathroom toilet stuff later. I don't want to vomit from this stuff.
No,
that
that seems so unlikely.
I hate vomiting anyways.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I just don't want to have that sick feeling. So like, I hear you, Rob, in the moment. It's like, oh my God, what am I going to grab? But it's very much at the front of my mind. I am planning for afterwards, right? Like that's what I'm like that's why I'm trying to make it as small of an arsenal as possible because I'm thinking forward afterwards. After this all settles, how's my stomach going to react?
Yeah, the only thing I'm concerned about really is the ring of fire afterwards.
Really?
So is it the Pepto-Bismol beforehand, like to coat the stomach? What's the trick of the trade there to prevent the heat after the fact?
Have some fiber. You don't want to be on a non-fibrous diet and have to endure that.
The liquidy form of it.
Yeah, I mean, you want to have a good, healthy mix of a good amount of fiber. That's why. So, like, I usually do carrots. Carrots are a decent source of fiber, and they're typical. Typical side of chicken wings too. Pretty normal.
Right.
Celery too.
Ooh,
Just
yum,
having
yeah.
some and ranch. That ranch can kind of have that cooling effect with celery,
Celery
and it
with
goes
cream
well.
cheese.
Goes
Cream
yep,
cheese works.
goes well with it.
Oh
And
my
so these are things that, like, again, I'm talking about things that are somewhat appetizing. They taste okay, right? And they have a little bit of a cooling effect, but probably more beneficial than anything. Having some vegetables in the stomach is going to help next day.
So so the team is aware. I'm going to provide a mixture of things to have in house that can go along with whatever you want to bring in as an individual to help curb the heat. We're going to have ice cream, milk. We're going to have the blender on hand so we can make our own milkshakes here with whatever version of the ice cream we bring. I think I'm just going to do a combination of maybe chocolate and vanilla. And then we're going to have carrots and ranch dressing on hand in the house for everybody.
Nice.
So just to clarify, can we use the ranch to dip with the sauce as we take a bite, or can only be chicken wing and sauce, take a bite, and then cool our mouth down?
As of rules, that is one that we won't allow. So you can't dip the wing in anything. You have to take the wing straight up, and then after you've consumed the amount of the wing that you want to, then you can begin with helping
That
cooling.
makes
And is swallowing required, or is that when you tap out? If you spit it out,
if you don't swallow it, you're tapped out.
you're done. You're out of the
But also I would say that choosing to spit it out doesn't really help. I mean, other than maybe some of the next day effect, it doesn't really help the heat at all to not finish it.
So back to the Pepto. I forget who did that, but did they do that? I forgot. Was it Gordon Ramsay or something?
Yeah,
was it before the event?
Yeah, I think he slammed a bottle during.
Oh, a whole bottle.
Something like that.
Well,
yeah.
he was going to make it all the way through, I guess, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he made it all the way through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I actually, uniquely for me, Pepto, the smell of Pepto makes me nauseous.
Oh.
So I can't do it. But I wouldn't imagine that it's a bad idea to have a little bit beforehand. I mean, as far as a coating function for the stomach, sure. I also the Pepsid for me is more a result of I take that beforehand.
Oh, that's right.
And yeah, usually about 30 minutes before I have
Pepsid.
anything. Like for me, it's anything pepperoni. This is the saddest thing ever. I can't eat linguiça anymore.
Oh God.
Just destroys my stomach. So Pepsid though really offsets that. And depending on your sensitivity to spiciness or even just the greasy of the wings, which they shouldn't be too greasy, but that would be one of those things that can help as well.
I'm thinking maybe some pickle juice now that you guys are saying like Pepsid and Pepto-Bismol and stuff. I know it's vinegar based, but that might help cure some of the heartburn effect.
To that point, we got an email from JJ.
Hey, JJ.
Says, I have an idea you could try during the Not Hot Ones challenge to potentially reduce the amount of heartburn or upset stomach. Something I do is I drink 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar diluted in water beforehand. The acidity will help your stomach break down the food a bit quicker and easier.
I can't say that I would have any objection to the idea.
No.
I can't stand that stuff.
But any vinegar.
I mean,
find a vinegar you like.
I mean, mixed with something, of course. Sure. But when people are like, "Oh, do a spoonful of this a day," no thanks.
The RADurday show this Saturday live from 6 to 9. It's on RADTV at members.radradio.com. We'll be doing the Not Hot Ones challenge. We're with Ian from Tech2U, who will be joining us. Anna wrote in, says the guy from Man vs. Food did an interview after he had been on Hot Ones and shared a couple things that he said he learned through the filming. Bread is wise to try taming the heat. His choice of bread was hot dog buns. He actually recommended chewing and sucking on a piece, but not swallowing it.
Yeah, so bread for me is troublesome because it can help curb the heat a little bit in the moment, but that was where I actually did start thinking about the heaviness of what's in my stomach. And so, eating heavy carbs along with all that heat, I preferred to offset it with something like vegetables or something fresh, even if it was just raw cucumber or anything that was a little bit more fresh and having something else in your stomach. It doesn't necessarily help the heat as much, but bread scared me as far as just consuming a bunch of bread and these chicken wings. It felt too heavy for me. Yeah.
So if you in the research that I've been doing, one of the medical sites talked about all starches, rice and bread, and they did say they won't dissolve the capsaicin, which is the actual the burning effect, but they will act like a mop to kind of soak up the molecules and at least stop the scorching feeling, which would make sense why his trick worked. If you just chew on it and then spit it out, it might act as the scorching feeling might go away a little quicker.
And so that would be one of those things and I'm sure everybody has experienced this where you have something spicy and you're like, oh man, it's really on my lips, or I could feel it on my tongue, or it's like spices affect different people differently, and where they affect your mouth in particular can be different. Like, for example, as we get to the hottest ones, you'll notice some people kind of trying to keep their lips off of it, and it's just try to tooth it so you don't get too much heat on your lips because it burns a little bit. So the bread thing, it helps what's in your mouth, but the heat spreads.
Phone number is 888-989-9811. Hi, Bob.
Right on.
Bob, you there?
Bob. Hello.
Bob's not here, man.
Robin, hello.
Hey, good morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
So I was just calling in because another thing that can help curb the heat from the challenge is peppermint. A couple years ago, my husband went to San Francisco and got a hot sauce that he had to sign a waiver to purchase because it had an outrageous number of Scoville units, and peppermint was key.
Like what, in any form?
We had peppermint oil. I don't know. I guess you could try any form. Try peppermint leaf or a candy.
That would be the most pure form, would be an actual peppermint oil.
I was thinking peppermint toothpaste for some reason when she said it, and I was like,
brush your tongue.
Yeah, it'd probably actually make a big difference.
And sometimes it's these weird things that people swear by. It works. Tommy just wrote in. He said that Gordon Ramsay, when he was on, he kept squirting juice into his mouth the whole time, which I never thought would help. But that one thing that overwhelmingly people swear by is citrus juice, like lemon or lime juice, right after you take the bite. Have you ever tried it?
Yes, and it does help. It does, and it's the same thing as the bread. It helps the heat that you are experiencing in your mouth. It doesn't help the heat that you're experiencing in like your ears. Like once we get to that point.
Because it is that hot. Yeah, I mean, people that don't go very far in the spice world maybe think we're exaggerating, but it does. It takes over your head.
Totally. And the reason why the show is so successful and the reason why it's going to be so entertaining to watch is when you get to that hot of food, it creates this almost drunk feeling. I don't know how to explain it. It's just something you have to go through, but it feels kind of like being drunk. Like you get a little loose-lipped. And that the reason why these interviews with Sean Evans, especially toward the end, get so entertaining and they're so intriguing to watch is you get to watch these celebrities break down their barriers and start answering questions a little bit more earnestly. And it's very entertaining to see how people kind of like they focus on only the heat and they just don't care about the questions, and it makes for a very entertaining thing to see, which is why I'm looking forward to it so much. I've been listening to this show for like 15 years and I'm about to like put you guys through the ringer and get to ask you these questions that you have no idea what's coming. I'm going to throw you off and then you're not going to care about how you answer. So the audience is going to get to hear these questions that they're like, "Oh, wow, that's great." And then they're going to see you collapse with the answer, which is gonna
and with it all being uncensored, we also and we'll be halfway through the show at that point. We'll have no filter.
That's right.
in any way, so we won't be thinking about that kind of stuff.
Yep, and we'll need to not have a censor. Yeah.
Well, the more we talk about it, like I am less concerned about my reactions. I'm less concerned about the pain in my mouth because I know eventually it'll go away. I am literally more concerned about later in the day. Because this is going to be like, it's momentary. This is momentary pain. It'll go away. I'm thinking long term, right? Throughout the rest, I don't want my whole Saturday donezo because I'm like, I ate the wrong things.
Sure.
Yeah, so like I'm really listening to that, the after effect. Like, yeah, why do I want to pile a bunch of bread in me? Oh, just to have a moment of relief, and then the rest of the day I'm like, no thanks.
I care about you, Don. You'll be fine. Yeah, you really will. Like you really will. It would be hard to go through this and get yourself to a point where you feel later like you've tortured yourself.
Okay,
it
perfect.
really is. The whole experience is momentary, which is why it's so great to compile it into this little show that we're going to do.
It's so weird what people worry about. Like Dawn is obsessed over the after, and I'm like, I don't care. And Brandon's with her. And so you know what's going to happen. So I won't vomit. That's the only thing I'm concerned about, and I'll be fine. But I'll have a horrible post-experience on the toilet. Dawn will be the one that vomits during the show. And she'll be fine after that.
Because I care more about long-term effects than immediate gratification.
Yeah.
Tyler wrote in, I think we had this last time, said peanut butter is helpful.
Oh.
It makes sense.
God.
It's another coating.
Yeah.
A few people have written in, and I saw this as well, that it's something that does help counteract the after effects, allegedly, is eating a banana beforehand.
Oh, that's interesting.
And that's a lovely thing, a banana. Lovely on the stomach.
Yeah, and I mentioned this last time, but as a reminder, because this is the last time I'm here before we do the show, don't come on an empty stomach.
Oh, yeah.
Eat some breakfast. It doesn't need to be a lot, but just have something in there.
So the last one before we play Master Movies and then we move to tech and AI and stuff as we get ready for the RADurday Not Hot Ones Challenge is the biggest controversy that I found in reading up on what does or doesn't help is one that you said don't do it. And I would say of the dozens of sites that I went to, both from experienced eaters and nutritionists, dietitians, and then the medical industry, 50% said don't do it, but 50% said do it. There's actually a reason it works, was alcohol.
Yeah, I think that's an awful idea. This kind of, I don't want to give away some of the things that we're gonna do, but the best way I can explain this is you would never take a shot and then go run a mile. Yeah, I mean, not unless your plan was I just need to get really hammered, and in like a bad way. Because what you're going to do, just to give the very basics, it's going to elevate your heart rate. Like we can all put that part together, right? So if our heart rate is going to go up and you have alcohol in your system, it's going to create better circulation for alcohol. You're going to feel drunk really fast. And then that's the nausea side. Like that's not worth it.
So that is almost universally the people that were on the no side, which I kind of dismissed because of my high tolerance for alcohol.
Yeah.
The reason on the pro side was the chemical basis for it is certain types of alcohol dissolve capsaicin, so it can have an immediate effect on the actual burn. And they all cited vodka as the one if you were going to do it. I do not at this time plan on it, but I might plan on it towards the end.
Yeah, you know,
when I know I'm getting close.
I would finish it off with a shot with you if you wanted a little Tahoe Blue shot at the end.
It's great. You think I'm going to make it to the 10th
I think
one?
you will. It's going to be
that's
great,
so nice.
Rob. I'm so excited for you to get
supportive.
there. But you know, I think that maybe at the end, I just wouldn't. I mean, even at the end, it'd be a little troublesome. But I wouldn't advise starting with it at all.
No,
having it
that doesn't sound right.
No.
Yeah, no, I can absolutely attest to that in the sense of a million years ago when I was a fitness freak, I had to work out every day. Even if we were on vacation, we could have plenty of times in Vegas, we were out drinking. And those are the times I'd get sick, not from the drinking, but I would be like, I didn't get my workout in. And if the gym was closed, I'd go run the stairs. Like I got my workout in and it was not a good feeling afterwards.
Yeah.
The sweating and your heart's going and you'd been
Like
drunk.
a little bit.
It's like, no good.
Yeah.
Oh my God. If you're saying that's what it's compared to.
Again,
Ugh.
so weird. I tend to drink alcohol while working out. We're gonna take a break.
Your body's different.
As we it's been conditioned. We'll be back with Ian from Tech2U. We'll get more into the tech stuff, but he will be here Saturday on RADTV for the RADurday show for the Rad Not Hot Ones Challenge. You can watch it live or afterwards at members.radradio.com. Remember, the membership price goes up on Saturday, so if you're thinking about joining or you know we're going to suck you in eventually, join before Saturday, and once you do, you're locked in at that price. You won't have to pay the renewal for the larger price.